Welcome to Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. This podcast delivers insights on what makes businesses, teams, and people successful based on real-life business experiences. Following a career with America's largest associations, JP Murray founded the Murray Company, one of Washington, D.C.'s most successful consulting firms. The company was acquired successfully and enabled him to launch JP Murray Racing, a business development and sponsorship agency for auto racing teams. Here is JP.
Hello everybody, it's JP coming to you from Orono, Maine, home of the Black Bears. Hey, I'm here for big time 3-game set between the Black Bears softball team against Binghamton this weekend. And I wanted to give you a few pieces of content today because I've really kind of got a riff about my favorite things in business. I want to talk about the things that really resonate with me, that give me energy when I do business with people. I think that there are certain qualities and certain actions and certain even vulnerabilities that people love from their leaders. So I want to pass them along to you today. First, the client that actually wants to solve the problem you're hired for. I've learned in most cases, people know what to do. They understand what action to take, but they don't want to do it, or they don't do it, or they want someone to do it for them. That's why they hired me. I'll give you an example. Juncos Hollinger Racing Team in IndyCar didn't have the current bandwidth to sell racing sponsorships. So Ricardo Juncos and Brad Hollinger hired me to do that, and they let me do it. And frankly, I've never had a job that I've loved to do more. Sometimes in the association world, my experience over the last, almost 30 years, the association hired me to sell memberships, sponsorships, ads, exhibits, or our company. And then they spent a lot of time telling us who we could not sell to, although they had that problem. So in a way, they really didn't want me to solve the problem. They wanted someone maybe even to blame for the problem if we weren't entirely successful. The second thing, business execs that do what they say. Fundamental business challenges get down to this. People don't do what they say they're going to do. If I look at 90% of the problems that I've ever run into in business, and sometimes I was at fault, and I didn't do what I said I was going to do, that jams everything up. Project done by this day. Phone call to this prospect. I have one exec that said, "Don't call me, I'll call you when I have something." And he did every time. When he called, there was a project, and he always paid top rate. So those people and those execs and those business cultures that frankly deliver what they say are some of the best ones. And it's not that complicated. The third, leaders that know when, I would call it, the baby is ugly. I will give you a personal example. I held the Murray Company growth back because I insisted for the first 7 years to be the chief salesperson of the company. I did most of the client development and never hired any help because I was cheap and I was arrogant, thinking I could do it better than anybody else. No, not true. I was wrong. As soon as I put somebody in charge of the sales and business development, oh my goodness, what happened? The company grew, the projects moved quicker, they were more efficient because I got the heck out of the way. I had to know where the baby was ugly, what was holding us back, and what I needed to change. And usually it's the leader getting the heck out of the way. In some industries, though, the CEO or the leadership or the board of directors rarely admits that they're facing headwinds. Membership is always up. Meetings are always ahead of attendance. I have a great relationship with my board of directors. You know what? And that's a great narrative when you're in the Washington, D.C. receptions or you're at a business meeting. You say, oh, we do it this way, and it always works. Fact of the matter is, there are termites in the foundation, and I see it all the time. When I get hired, I get in there, and I look at the numbers, and I look at the documents, and I look at the 990 forms, and I can tell you some of this stuff is not operating very well, but no one is willing to admit it. I love executives who want to differentiate themselves in business. When you see eccentric, I'll call it eccentric, business behavior success all over the place right now. Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Gary Vaynerchuk. I can keep going if you want, but you know what I mean. We are attracted to them often because of their unique nature or their unique businesses or the things that they try that are different. But you know what many of us do? We work just enough to not get fired. Avoidance of mistakes, don't take risks, so you don't get smoked. That is playing not to lose, not to win. And I love to work with people that have an insatiable appetite to blow the doors off of everybody else with good manners. My guess, the people that you work with and for have similar qualities that they love from executives and leaders. They're execs that do what they say. They know when the baby's ugly and they got to make changes. They differentiate themselves. And when they hire people, they let them do the job. Those are some of my favorite things in business. And frankly, I see it happen every day in some great organizations. And I hope you're one of those type of people. I hope you enjoyed the content. Thanks for listening while I'm on the road, and I can't wait to speak to you next week from the Grand Prix of Alabama on the Push to Pass podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Push to Pass podcast with JP Murray, a discussion about business, racing, sports, and life. If you would like to sponsor Push to Pass, send an email to jp@jpmurray.com. Follow JP on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. His website is jpmurray.com. Until next time, push yourself to pass the competition. Thanks for listening.